I don't have another 200% to give in order to be a little bit happier. I was already working at a 10 and I felt like I was at a 2. And I'm like, dude, in order to be level 9 happy, I can't do it. So today I'm going to talk about the 5 signs that it's actually your ego that is trying to manage your spiritual awakening and not you. And I know these because I did all of them. So we'll just get right into it. Number 1 is feeling like there's a finite amount of pain, trauma, and issues that you can process. And it's almost like from an energy standpoint of, and then I can get back to my life. If you're approaching really anything about this new journey that you're on from that energetic state, it's your ego trying to figure it out. Number 2, I accidentally kind of looped it into the first one, is that energy of deep down, you just want to get back to the way things were. As unfortunate as that might sound, you'll never go back. And that's where the concept of ego death is really interesting. Is I liken it to, there's a movie that's coming to mind, I don't remember the name of it, but like a massive white light and then a black ball just kind of goes through it and then disappears. Okay, that is kind of the ego death, where on the other side there is still a form that is living. It's just from this standpoint, you'll never go back. And that's kind of what death is it's a reorganization of energy, and the form and the state that it was in, it's not returning back to. And that's what they really mean when they talk about an ego death, is you're leaving one state and going to another, and you'll never go back to the other one, as much as you might deep down want to. The third one is, if you ever feel like the faster you can do this, the better. This led me to, like a borderline psychotic breakdown, if I'm being honest. Like my talk therapist at the time was like, Bryce, you have got to stop, and take a break and ground. And I didn't want to accept it because my ego, it was from an egoic state. I was panicking. I was so scared that this state of brokenness that I was in was never going to end. And I come from a very, I did sales, sports, all those things, very much I was taught, grit your teeth and you can make whatever you want happen. And I thought I could do the same thing with the spiritual awakening process and how to get back to the stasis, and you can't. That's the opposite of, that's really why this whole process began, is to teach me that slower sometimes is faster. Grounding allows you to move quicker than if you just panic and run around hoping that something works out sooner than later. Yeah, that was a sucky one to learn. Number 4, this one was really interesting, and geez, you want to talk about an identity crisis. Feeling like my old life was a complete waste of time, space, and energy. I really did. There was a time where I was like, everything that I've ever enjoyed was from pure conditioning. Everything that I ever thought, my entire life was a complete waste. What am I even doing? And now I have to restart. And this was an interesting one, was it took me 28, 27 years to be this unhappy. How long is it going to take me in order to be happy? Look at how hard I have worked in order to be this unhappy. And you're telling, and it was almost from this space of, I don't have another 200% to give in order to be a little bit happier. Does that make sense? I was already working at a 10 and I felt like I was at a 2, and I'm like, dude, in order to be level 9 happy, I can't do it. How in the hell am I supposed to do that? That's ego, because it's trying to figure it out, and it's trying to use what it knows and how it got a certain level of happiness to inform how it's going to do it the next time. And that's not how this works. So that's why I had that whole video about working with your intuition, connecting with who you are, because that is how you're going to learn, oh, okay, this piece of my past life, I love that. That was authentic. It might have been in a container or from an energetic standpoint of conditioning, but this little nugget, we like that. And then the last one is thinking that it should be anything. The real common one for me that I always kept running back to was like, this shouldn't be this hard. I shouldn't feel this broken. Anytime there's a should, or you're like, man, life should be easier. That's just your mind deciding something based on its own, who even knows. Honestly, so this is kind of a funny one, but like when my ex-wife was pregnant, I learned so much where it was like, oh, I got to the point where if someone walked up to me and said, oh yeah, my eyes were blue and then they went brown while I was pregnant and then they went green afterwards, I'd be like, yeah, like that makes sense. That's crazy. Like, because dude, there are some stories where like the craziest things, like women's bodies are wild when they're pregnant because they can just transform to make sure that that baby's taken care of. And dude, that is energetically like the state that you are in, is just accept that whatever is going on is supposed to go on. There's a reason for it. It is doing something for you. It might suck. It might be super hard. You might be like, there's no way I'm going to get through this. I've been there, but it's all got a point. There's always a purpose. There's always a reason. And it's the ego that does not want to accept that. It's yourself that is connected to everything that knows that that's always been the case. So I hope that some of this resonated and helped you out a little bit to maybe identify what stage you're in. If there's more that I might have missed, drop them in the comments below and we'll talk about some more of them as a community. Otherwise, I'll talk to you guys soon. Have a good one.